Welcome to the Tattooed Truth Podcast with Anna Love, a space for embodied conversations for soul-led rebels. I'm your host, Anna Love, intuitive empowerment coach, subconscious healing guide, and no stranger to burning it all down to rise in truth. Here we dive deep into identity, healing, personal power, and what it really takes to lead a soul-aligned life. You'll hear unfiltered insights, real stories, and live coaching sessions with bold callers ready to break free and embody their next level. This is your invitation to reclaim your voice, rewire your patterns, and rise fully expressed. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Tattooed Truth Podcast. I am so excited to be here with you today. I am Anna Love, and one of my friends sent me something this morning that I've heard before. I was introduced to it during my yoga teacher training, and I wonder if this is where she got it too. I didn't ask her, but she is also a teacher of yoga. And it is something that I've heard also in the coaching world. So maybe you have heard it too, but I'd love to introduce it to you if this is new to you, or bring it into your awareness if you've heard this before, because this weaves so wonderfully into my mission, my purpose, and what it is that I stand for here, not only in my coaching world, but in my life. So let's dive in. This is a story about the tale of two wolves. So this is all about, we all have two wolves, and which are you feeding? Which is leading your life right now? So I'd like to read you this, is it a poem? Is it a parable? I'm not sure what it is, but here's what it is. There's an old Cherokee story, okay, that has stayed with me for years. And not because it's poetic, but because it's painfully honest. So it speaks to the parts of us that want to be healed, that want to be conscious, that know that we are loving, but it also speaks to the part of us that are still reacting, that are still protecting, that are still in ego, that still lash out, parts of us that still shut down. So here's how it goes. There's an old Cherokee grandfather sitting with his grandson one evening and tells him about a battle that goes on inside every person. There are two wolves, he says. They are always fighting. One wolf is evil. It's angry, it's envious, it's jealous, has regret. There's greed, there's arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other wolf is good. It's joy, peace, love, home, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generous, forgiving, truth, compassion, and faith. And the grandson sits quietly thinking about this for a moment. Then his grandfather tells him, he looks at his grandfather and asks, "Which wolf wins?" And the old Cherokee simply replies, "The one you feed." The one you feed. Every time I hear that, it lands so deep, because what it is that we focus on, this is where our energy flows. And we can say that we're focusing, or we can say that we're feeding, but either way, that's where our attention's going. That's all of our life and our reality that's created here for us is a reflection of what we're thinking and what we're focusing on and what we're speaking. Now, the wolf, right, doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it looks like an old story that just keeps replaying. And it could say something like repeating some old beliefs, some limiting beliefs. I'm not enough. I can't have that. It's not available to me. I don't fit in. I don't belong, right? It could be led by fear, by staying hyper alert in relationships. And we just keep siphoning through relationship after relationship after relationship, using the same coping mechanisms. We could be overworking. to prove our worth. These are things that I talk about on my podcast, and I have an episode about this exactly. Could be about shutting down instead of feeling. We shut down, we avoid, we distract, all to avoid the feelings that we have. It could just be choosing self-protection over self-trust. And that is something that I think everyone on this planet has dealt with or struggled with or is still dealing with and struggling with. And this is conditioning, right? It may look like failure, but it's conditioning. It's the way we are programmed. Most of us were taught very early which wolf is safer to feed, or not really safer, but it felt safer. So, what I want to be very, very clear about is that this is not a story about good versus bad, right versus wrong. The dark wolf has to be killed or anything like that. We're not talking about killing off or shutting off parts of ourselves, because that part of ourselves or that wolf exists for a reason. In the past, maybe anger once protected you, as it did me. That was my big, big one. Ego might be keeping you safe. Self-pity might have softened, some pain that we were dealing with. Or control might have given you a sense of stability. The problem isn't that the wolf exists. The problem is when it becomes the one running your life. Let's get into talking about identity and the nervous system, because what we feed grows stronger neurologically, emotionally, energetically. Every thought that you say in your head is just a rehearsal. Every reaction that you justify is nourishment. Every moment of awareness is a redirect. So feeding the good wolf doesn't mean bypassing your pain. It means meeting it consciously. It means choosing regulation over reaction. It means becoming not only aware, but curious and not judging yourself. We tend to judge. We tend to react, right? We tend to avoid. So when we stay conscious, when we stay curious, when we stay out of judgment and we are in a place of acceptance, when we are in a place of presence and consciousness, that's how we start shifting. That's how we start feeding the good wolf. I don't love, to be honest, how it calls it the good wolf, but we're going to go with it because I didn't make the story. But the point is, there's a wolf that is empowering and there's a wolf that is destructive. Okay. And there's parts of us that empower us, and there's parts of us that destroy us little by little by little. It thinks it's protecting us, but really it's sabotaging us. It's taking us down. So I want you to think about, where in your life is this occurring? Which wolf are you feeding? The sabotaging one, the empowering one? Are you even aware of it? Or are you on autopilot and you're just going about your day? You're just sitting in feelings of shame or guilt or judgment, comparison, and you're not even able to pull yourself out of it. You're not able to say, you know what, this isn't self-serving. This doesn't feel good. Because what we do a lot of times is the feelings become so constant that our nervous system gets so used to it. And this is why it's important to check in with your nervous system. Like, how am I actually feeling about the things that I'm saying, the things that I'm thinking, the things that I'm doing? So in your daily life, how is this happening? So I want you to think about this. In your self-talk, that's the biggest one, the inner critic. From the time that you wake up in the morning, your self-talk starts. Before you even open your eyes, you're already talking to yourself. Think about it. What are you saying? Is it empowering or is it taking you down? Is it feeding more negativity? Is it feeding curiosity and presence? We can choose. That's where we're going to get to next. I'm not going to jump ahead. I want you to keep thinking about your life, your self-talk, your relationship. What relationships are you participating in that are not good for you, that are just there because of convenience, because it's what you've always done, or because you don't know how to say no, or you don't know how to speak to them. So you just keep talking to that person in the same way, listening to what they say to you in the same way. And when you feel unseen, unheard, unwanted, undervalued, triggered in any way around that, how do you respond or how do you react? There's a difference. Responding comes from a place where something happens and then there's space for a pause for you to then say, okay, I'd like to say this next. I'd like to pour my energy into this way. Reacting is just poosh, something happens, and then all of a sudden, boof, we're coming out with a quick pushback, a defense. We're yelling, we're getting triggered. So let's talk about how to get through this, how to focus on the wolf that is empowering. Now, you don't have to starve out the other wolf. We're not trying to kill parts of you. We're not trying to say that there's bad parts of you, but we want to focus on what we want. And in the work that I do with clients during the timeline therapy, this is so important. When we start creating the learnings around an event that happened in the past that we are now going to reframe, and we are now going to let go of the old story around the event that happened on the timeline on an unconscious level. It's so important that anything that we say is framed in the present and in the positive. So we don't even say the things that we don't want. We are programming and plugging in, what do we want that can be empowering for that old, younger version of us to take away, to create a new story. And this is what we're going to do now. And this is what we can do to get that, let's call it the bad wolf, just because the story said that, but that wolf that's taking you down, perhaps, or at least feeling negative. What can we do to let that wolf sort of take a back seat? Is we can focus on only the things that we want instead. We can focus on only feeding the good wolf. And the food that we feed it is the pause before we react, right? The pause before we respond. It's speaking kindly to yourself, especially when you make mistakes, especially when you mess up. But right from the beginning of your day, start talking kindly to yourself, because you are the one in control of your language. Not only are you in control of the focus and your energy, you're in control of your language. So listen to the way that you're speaking to yourself. There's a voice inside your head that's not you. It's just a voice inside your head, and it's programmed. So start noticing, what is it saying? It's like a computer speaking to you. It's like a robot speaking to you. Notice it and start redirecting, changing that language. It's food for that wolf. Allowing yourself, this is what I've been doing a lot lately, allowing myself to rest without guilt, to chill, to take time, to create space. No movement, no thoughts, relaxation, integration. And feeling an emotion, that's important here. A lot of us have learned to push back or push down or push away feelings, not only as women, men too, almost even more so men, but it's in a different way. It shows up differently, how we're taught as kids. Some women are taught not to have emotion either. You're too crazy. You're too loud. You're just like your mom. You're just like your grandmother. And then we learn to not feed that part of us. But I'm here to say it's okay and it's healthy and it's good. And we want to feed that part of us that has feelings, that has emotions. We want to allow that part of us to speak, to have a voice, to have room for an opinion, to be curious, to question things. And most importantly, choose alignment over approval. Does it feel congruent with your beliefs, your purpose, your values? Not, oh, let me think what another person wants, or let me ask what another person wants, and then do that over my values and what I want. And all of this, that being said, all of this starts with awareness. It starts with noticing, checking things out, stopping, not going so fast that life blows by you or the day blows by you. And you're like, woof, where did that go? Where did the day go? What happened? Start with noticing. And even if you need to keep a little journal, even if you need to wear a little watch timer that goes off so that you become aware every time the timer goes off and you say, what's going on? Where am I? Wake up. Am I being conscious? Have I been reacting? Am I being super negative towards myself? Am I popping off at people instead of giving myself space between this person or that person? So the moment that you start to notice and you become aware of these wolves and which one you're feeding, that's how you reclaim your power. That's how you become empowered. This is a choice. This is the most important thing I feel like I'll ever say. That is a choice. Once you become aware that you have the choice, you also become aware that there are tools available. And this choice changes everything in your life. It changes every single thing in your life because everything ripples out. So when you are one way, it will then start to be the only way you are. I have this saying that I say, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I truly believe that as long as you're consistently, like some people are consistently unaware, and that's how they're going to be all throughout their day. It's very slim chance you're going to be aware over here and not aware over here, asleep over here, but awake over here. Your nervous system is going to stay consistent most of the time. The way you cope or handle things is going to stay consistent most of the time, unless you're acting, unless you're pretending. So I'd love to hear if this episode spoke to you. Maybe listen to this again. Maybe share it with somebody that you think needs to hear it. And just start noticing your patterns without shaming yourself. Noticing your choices without trying to be perfect. And this is not about being broken. It's not about needing to be fixed. It's about becoming aware of our patterns, our programming. And as always, if you loved this episode, please come and find me on Instagram. I am .theannalove. And I'd love to hear how this feels to you, what you have to say about this. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Tattooed Truth podcast. If this episode lit something up in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, leave a review, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a truth bomb. If you're craving deeper support, guided healing, or a space to reclaim your voice and power, check the show notes for ways to work with me. Remember, your truth is not too loud, too bold, or too much. It's exactly what this world needs. Keep showing up, stay wild, stay true. I'll see you next time.